Hey, good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Boy, this has been a really tough trial to watch. I've had to limit myself on how much I'm watching it, but we're in the penalty phase right now, and the jury has the ball in their court. For real. Who is in here? Mirror Camp asked how my tacos were. Delicious. Oh my God, they're good. I don't know what's going on with the meat. It's better like 2 days later. Really good. Ange called me and said, hey, what's going on with that show? And I'm like, what? I did not realize I was 10 minutes late. What a loser I am. But that's okay. That's what happens when you get busy watching TV and eating tacos. Well, hello, Boober. Hello, Chris. What is going on? Does anybody have any sort of plans for Cinco de Mayo tonight? Anybody? Today? Anything? I live vicariously through you. Let's take a second and tell everybody hello, and we are back. Live and shit. I'm out that she's waiting on Margarita O'Clock. Ooh, look at you go, girlfriend. Okay, this has been one, and we have seen some very tough trials. We have been through them together, not in person, but you know what I mean. I will say Gannon's was definitely the worst. Harmony took my breath away. I will say the trial of Athena Strand was way more than I thought it would be. Way more. But that's the reason I don't use my imagination in cases like this because, well, she's a little girl. I can't even imagine how her parents are feeling and everything the family has gone through in the last 3 years, to be quite honest. It's horrible. I do know that there is one channel that has leaked the audio. How this person got it, I will never know. You will never hear it here. If you fish around, you can hear it. There's really nothing on there you want to hear. We already know what was done. So let's get to it because the jury is out. And right now they are deliberating over death or life. Let's start with what the prosecution said.
It's been a heck of a month. I want to thank you up front for being so attentive. And
let me ask you guys this. Okay, you know where I stand on this. Okay, I'm all about him just getting put to death. Okay. This will not be the example for the state of Texas. They make examples every day. They have very tough juries that don't really sit there and pussyfoot around with these pedophiles. I do wonder after he pled guilty for capital murder, why they didn't just hand everything over to the judge and have a bench trial as opposed to a jury. I mean, instead of putting 12 citizens through this, why not just let the judge decide? It could be riskier. You never know.
giving us your time away from home, away from your families, away from work. We appreciate that. The way it works today is I've got a few things to say. The defense will have a few things to say, and then I will finish, and you will get the charge of the court that the judge just read you. I'm not going to go through all the evidence in the case. I don't have enough time. The judge gives me an hour, and then I get the hook, so to speak. But I do think there are some things that are important. And this is the number one thing that I think is most important right here. This is what's most important. This is why we're here. Picture sat in my office for months. And I looked at it every day. As a reminder, on those days, why do I get up again? Why do I keep doing this? And this picture was taken, she didn't know she only had 4 days left to live. So that picture was taken. When that picture was taken, I didn't know that 6 days after that, I'd be talking to my sheriff. And you heard from him, a former Texas Ranger, a fairly grizzled veteran of law enforcement, that I'd be standing there with him and not a dry eye between us. I knew then that I would be here in front of you.
Seasoned lawmen that said, her picture has been up in my office. I have been looking at it for years. Getting ready for this trial, if we have a playlist on Athena. If you want to check it out, it's not an easy watch. We know that everything that the alleged, well, it's not alleged anymore because he's pled guilty in the court, accepted his plea of guilty. So we definitely know that he's guilty. I mean, he pled, and right now we have a jury of his peers deciding if he's going to be put to death or live the rest of his life behind bars. But I think about seasoned lawmen that he said there wasn't a dry eye, like they're clearly moved and upset. Well, I mean, I would be too. I've had to take this trial in like little tiny bits. Because it's a lot.
But why are we here? We're here for her. We're here for her memory, her voice, a little bow on her head, smile on her face, love in her heart. That's why we're here. She can't seek justice. We're here for her. When you all got qualified and we went through the whole process, talked about a lot of things. And one of the things that I think we talked about is the death penalty, and a lot of people are reluctant on that, and we should be. And it should be used in only the most extreme cases. Now, those cases, intentional, cold-blooded, planning, premeditation, victims that can't help themselves, children. Cases where the victim is sexually assaulted prior to their death.
I just call it heinous. And yes, it was premeditated, in my opinion. Because if it wasn't Athena, it would have been another child that afternoon, the day before. He was actively looking for a child, preferably a little girl Athena's age. And I did not mean to say it that way.
Cases where there's no mercy shown to the victim. Cases like this. This is what, and the reason why that Texas keeps the death penalty here. This is why. This is the type of case. And I'm going to tell you that Tanner Horner is proof why parents hug their children a little tighter. He's proof of why children are nervous to go play outside. He's proof of why there is evil in society and we can never turn our back. Now, 2015, May 23rd, Athena, she was born. 18 days from today, she turned 11. 18 days. If you remember on opening, we talked a lot about past tense. And I'm not even trying with the glasses anymore because my eyes are smoked after this trial. We talked a lot about wood. We talked about past tense. And I think it's important. We've heard a lot about people's past, but I think it's important to talk about what would have been. You know, when we talk about Athena, I feel like we want to talk about when she would have graduated. She would have been a Paradise Panther class of 2033. She would have celebrated her birthday party in 18 days. And I can promise you there would have been an overload of pink. That's all it would. Okay. The other questions we look at is the future. We look at, you know, when you look at it, you ask yourself, you know, who would she marry? Who would be her first boyfriend? Real boyfriend. You know, some things that I thought about is what kind of shoes would she wear under her wedding dress? Those things are important. Who would she marry? Right? What kind of job would she have? That's what's important. Her future. And the fact that Tanner Horner cut that short. Brutal.
I will say that the experts, in quotes, and the family members that have testified about Tanner make me want to barf. They really do. There was an expert up there saying, oh no, he's not a pedophile because it just happened that one time. Girl, the fact that he thought about it makes him a ped. What are you talking about? He's not a big OP. Because it only happened one time. Well, how many times does it have to happen, Dr. Dumbass, for him to be labeled exactly the way he is? We know what's going on. I had no respect for his grandma. I had no respect for Aunt Dottie. His mom, maybe a little bit, because she said that she wanted to string his ass up herself. And she just said, I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad at you. Like she was like gritting her teeth and talking through them. She talked about her drug abuse. She talked about her alcoholism. She talked about being a teenage mom. She talked about everything. None of those things equate to what he has done to Athena Strand. None of them do.
Cut that short. So that's why we're here today. Tried to do all this by memory. It just doesn't happen. I've been here 5 weeks now. It just doesn't happen. So the big thing here is this case is going to require a tough choice. We all know this. But the right thing is often the toughest choice. Now, we're taught as baby lawyers, we're supposed to get up here and bring all the fire and brimstone. And I can assure you, I can generate some fire and brimstone. But this isn't the case for it. I can't do any more or say anything more than what you've already seen on that screen. There's nothing I can do. There's no amount of fire and brimstone. There's no amount of jumping up and down and being like that could ever come close to what you've already seen. and I'm not even going to try. The evidence in this case, I'm not going to go through it because it is massive. But the big point of all of this evidence is this. If you start at the beginning, you know the facts. You heard the facts. When I came up here in opening, I told you I was going to put you as close as you could be to actually being there. And I did not lie. In this case, the evidence, we talked about the worst of the worst and the cases that like this, cases that have planning or premeditation. Don't discount the fact that somebody decided to cover up the camera an hour before, 2 days in a row on exactly the same road with 2 different locations with 2 little girls that were there. You saw the videos. My suspicion is those husband girls would have been first if the parents hadn't come out. They were first.
I agree. Because he had been, they call it pursuing. I call it stalking other little girls. And had the parents not walked out on other children he was planning to do this to, again, he had a plan in motion. I certainly do not want to get more graphic. Ooh, thank you, Muir Camp, for the Crime Lines and Lies membership. And I agree, Texas Blue, it will most likely be the death penalty. Texas does not play with people who hurt a child. I agree. I am shocked that they are done with lunch and they're still deliberating between life and death. He's already been found guilty by them. They have not decided on a penalty. Not going to knock the jury because it seems like a slam dunk for all of us. I don't know how they're feeling. And they obviously heard way more than me because, as I said, I kind of had to tune in and out. It was a lot to absorb.
Only when that didn't happen, Dean was second. So the evidence speaks for itself. When you talk about planning, it's not all just pre-planning. It's the understanding of what you're going to do after. For somebody that is having some form of catastrophe and inability to think or solve problems, out of all the random roads you could have chosen to go and sexually assault Athena, you drive right to it. You know the road, you know what's going on, you know the bumps, you know what's there. You don't pick some random road. You go to where you know it's secluded. That's planning. That's not somebody having a catastrophe and doesn't know where they are. Okay. So we know what he wants. We know because you heard it. One.
Judge, can we first?
Can all the members of the jury see the board?
This is one spooky picture, okay? And I read some of the transcript of the audio, a lot to get through. She was very, very, very smart, wise beyond her ears. Not ears, years. She, when he told her to disrobe, I can't believe I'm saying it that way. I'm so tired of having to talk like it's Sesame Street on YouTube. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. She said, "Are you a kidnapper?" And my mom said to never do that. And she knew that she had to do something. There's evidence she was trying to get out of the back of the FedEx truck. Like she would rather jump out of a moving vehicle than be in there with him. He starts singing to Jingle Bell Rock because it was at Christmas time. I will say that her father and her mother, her stepmother as well, who was no longer married to her father. It's nothing to judge. It's a common thing in cases like this when someone feels immense guilt because they were the one home when something horrible happens to a child. You know there's plenty of guilt to go around. And blame. I'm sure, I'm sure out of just pure being a human, there was some blame game going. The only blame I see in this case is Tanner Horner. And I want to congratulate all of you because we are the only channel that never blamed her mother, her father, her grandmother, or her stepmother. We said from the get, stepmother didn't have near enough time to do this. She never left the property.
Courtroom's a little small. We know what he wants. And we know what's coming. Dana didn't know what was coming. He knows what's coming. That's not the eyes, that's not the look of someone who doesn't have a plan, doesn't have motivation, that hasn't thought this out, that hasn't fantasized about this. That's the look of a predator right there. Now, about the evidence, you know what happened. I'm not going to go over that anymore. There's a couple of things here that I think are important. I talked to you about DNA, and I think DNA is important. The only acceptable answer in this case is that Tanner Horner was excluded. That's the only acceptable answer. And that's not the answer we had, period. It's not that, well, we found some DNA, it was his, but, maybe it's not enough. It's like when Dr. Ryan got up there and said, well, he's not a pedophile. It only happened one time. I beg.
Bite into that apple. Try it. You're going to find a worm. You are. An expert testified, no. Do not call little Tanner a pediped. This only happened one time. My fucking God. How many times? What is the scorecard to be considered a demonic creature that does horrible things to children? How many times does it take?
Different with that. Now, when we talk about the murder and what happened, you guys heard it. And I don't want anybody to ever forget what kind of warrior that little girl was. I don't know if anybody could have withstood what she withstood over and over again. I don't know anybody that could have withstood that. He can choke her, He can beat her. He can do it over and over again. But what do we know? We know the end result was right here. This is what it took. That's what it took to beat the life out of her. And I think that is key to this entire case. If the facts were not bad enough, if the sexual assault wasn't bad enough, the level of violence that one person can inflict on a child, including stomping them with a pair of shoes.
What is this noise? What is going on? Oh, never mind. Ange said there's an announcement in 15 minutes. They're coming into the courtroom. We should be just in time.
And I wonder where that tread-like print came from anymore, because we know. Now, like I said, the defense is going to get up here after me. They're going to have some things to say as well. That's how it works, okay? But what I anticipate is going to be a continuation of what you've already heard. His brain's broken somehow. He's got all these conditions. He's got all these ailments, all these things. He may have some or part of those. Apparently, according to Dr. Young, he even got low T. We even got the lead paint guy. Now, I don't know about the lead paint guy. I don't know if it works or not. I don't know if his little homemade zapper works or not. I honestly don't know. But what I do know is this. If you're going to come in here and try to convince us that somebody has all this lead in their system that's causing all the problems, why do you test anybody else? I mean, if you want us to believe you and all this stuff's going on, why don't you test the other people in the house? I don't think you want to know the answer. That's why you don't do it. So when we get up here, it's going to be a lot of talk about second chance. It's going to be a lot of talk about, maybe mercy. There's going to be a lot of talk about, his deficits and disabilities and things of that nature. But let's remember this. Everything they're telling you is an excuse. You know how I know it's an excuse? Because it took 6 or 7 experts and $500,000 to come up here and tell you it's not an excuse. That's how you know. If you've got to work that hard to try to prove that some kind of excuse, we know what the answer is. They're trying to get you to excuse his conduct. They're trying to get you to be less angry or less blameworthy on somebody for their conduct. I submit to you the truth and the facts and circumstances are what's most important. What he did is most important. Now, in looking at all of this, if you want mercy and you want somebody to consider giving you life when you gave.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do a simple poll. What would your vote be? Put a D in there for the DP. Put an L in there for life. Some people say it doesn't matter either way. It takes, it'll take, 10 to 20 years to put him to death.
No life here. When you gave no mercy here. What does it start with? I like to think it starts with the truth. I like to think it starts with not lying. I like it things to start with, if you have experts and you're being interviewed, not continuing to fabricate stories, not continuing to lie to you, not continue to try to cover it, not continue to try to shade this or change the narrative. I think that the difference between wanting mercy and earning it are two separate things. So, now, what you've heard for the past 2 weeks is that person driving that vehicle, you see it right here, this person right here driving this vehicle. You've heard for the last 2 weeks about every form of ailment one could possibly have. And you heard about the last 2 weeks how that person can't cope, has stress, has the inability to do basically anything on the earth whatsoever, and essentially is incapable.
I agree. The judge looks pissed off. He looks mean, and he has a look on his face like this shit should have been done weeks ago. The look on his face, and judges are only there to count swings and balls. That's it. They call strikes and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. He had a look on his face when that woman said, well, he's not a petty-ped. That's my word, by the way. That's not the word she used, because she's the expert, because it only happened one time. You want to know who she said that to? A jury that probably has a daughter. A jury that I guarantee has women in it that at one time were little girls. A jury that has a granddaughter, probably Athena's age. And a judge that definitely is a pawpaw.
Of doing anything. If you have any doubt about that, watch the 8 minutes of this video right here, from when he pulls in to Athena's driveway until he covers up the camera. If you have any doubt about somebody's ability to do and participate and be out in the world, watch that video. Because it's real clear. That's an individual who knows what they're doing. That's an individual who's hunting. That's an individual who's looking around and understanding what's around them. That is an individual who is absolutely lethal. That's an individual who targeted somebody, found somebody, tricked somebody, got him into the vehicle. You all saw when he took his hand and he put it over her mouth. He knows what's coming. You all saw it right here. You all saw right here. Bungee cords. Trying to tie somebody up. You all saw that. This is not an individual that's on some form of stress-fueled catastrophe. And the cocaine nonsense, come on. Just another lie. Just another lie. But guess what? When you know that you've been caught covering up the camera, and you know you're being caught, what do? You come up with another lie that fits your narrative. That's what you do. And that's what's happened in this case. It's lie on lie on lie. This person driving.
Wait 1966 said, has the judge spoke much? Objection, overruled, sustained, that type of stuff. He did give some pretty strict instructions to the jury. I read it. I didn't watch it. I read it from Dallas-Fort Worth News. And on one hand, it's good when judges do that because he wants to make sure no appellate court gets a hold of this and says, listen, that trial was way overzealous. These people were running off a true emotion and a pissed off feeling and a sickness at their stomach. So I see why he wanted the extra steps to be taken. And I will say, between the Rangers, the Sheriff's Department, the FBI, Texas DPS, woo, They got it figured out real quick. Makes me feel really sad for other police departments that just cannot find their ass with two hands and a flashlight.
This vehicle, cool, calm, and obviously, lethal. So, are you going to believe what you hear up here, that this person is basically can't even get up in the morning? Or are you going to believe your eyes and what you see and hear? The only sentence in this case that gives justice to her is answering those two questions. Yes and no. Thank you, Judge.
Life or death. Now, obviously, they cut it off right there because the 8 minutes that he played afterward, the judge already said, is not for public consumption. Holly Brooks, does the judge decide if he gets the DP? Hell no. It'd been over weeks ago. He saw the evidence way before. He knows what's up. He knows what's going on. Nope, there is a jury, and they are coming in right now. They had their lunch. Subway has been gargled down. We should have a decision here in a minute.
You're about 15 minutes off, but you're pretty close. Really?
Ooh, Susan going medieval on us. She said, I hope he's as scared as Athena was. Compared to Athena, he's a coward. He's fighting for his life. He's been doing it for 3 years. Lies, manipulation, experts that don't know shit about shit. And then you heard the prosecutor say, she fought like 100 men to stay alive. This was not a quick and easy death at all. You can forget about the truck hitting her and him freaking out. You can forget about her witnessing him with some Coca-Cola going in his nose. And he freaked out and decided to had to quiet someone because he might lose his seasonal job delivering for Amazon. He was there delivering her Christmas present. When they brought out the box of Barbies that she was getting for Christmas, I was like, I'm going to have to take this in very small doses. Texas Blue, wonder where she's from. Texas Blue 22, wonder where she's from. He might have done things to other children. That is a huge possibility. We know for sure He had plans in the works, and one way or another, he was going to do this. And the prosecutor said, if it wasn't Athena, it would have been one of the Hughes girls. There was a child at a shopping center that he was thinking about abducting until her father walked up behind her. Didn't think anything about it because, well, they're in public and he is in a truck delivering gifts. It is a simple oversight. One thing I never heard them discuss, testify about, no experts came out. I want to know if he had ever done anything to animals. I didn't realize there was such a strong correlation between animal abuse, and I don't mean kicking your dog out of the way, okay? I don't mean tripping over your cat on the way to the coffee table. I don't know who would do that, but I think I know someone who did it this morning. OJ weaves in between my legs. You know what kind of abuse I'm talking about. We know that he was, I'll have to say for YouTube, he was inappropriate with some other family members. They did not, at least I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it because, like I said, I had to kind of check out, and the defense was upsetting me to the point where I couldn't see straight. They were pissing me off to no end. Exactly like Don Wells, Jananka said usually starts with animals. Usually does. You have to try their weirdo stuff out on someone. I really like Athena's mom. I do. Please be prepared for the backlash. Be prepared. You're going to see a lot of comments. You're probably going to see a lot of thumbnails just like this of saying she shouldn't have her daughter in court. Should not have her daughter in court. This girl deserves closure as well. She's living this nightmare. She knew her sister was missing. She knew finally, after a few days, her sister was never coming home. She understands what's going on. She had a damn panic attack, like a freaking nervous breakdown, when they were going through the store and she saw that big long pink aisle full of Barbies. Let the girl have her closure. That is my opinion. You're not here for my opinion. You're here for yours. And I will say 9 times out of 10, your opinion is 10 times better than mine. Hello?
Are you busy?
I'm doing a show right now. We're going through, they're getting ready to introduce the verdict in the Athena Strand case. What are you
Yep.
doing?
Well, they just did, and I was going to tell you.
Oh, damn it. Come into chat. Don't tell me anything.
Okay.
What did one of your handymen tell you? Damn it, Uli. God. She's probably sleeping with one of the jurors. That's Uli. How the hell did she know before us? Yeah, Uli knows all. I don't know if the judge came in with that wrinkled shirt because of Uli or what. Goodness. Well, we're going to watch it together. Did you just see her little sister? She started waving, "Hey guys!" Oh my gosh, she's so cute. I will say those two make some very pretty children. I did read from the Dallas Morning News online, of course. I don't get the paper in the mail. That they had to add a lot of extra security because at one point they were worried about Mr. Strand doing something. He was losing it on the stand, and I don't blame him. Also, as people are driving up and down the street where the courthouse is, there's all kinds of signs that say, "Kill him now." "Execute Tanner." "Jury, do the right thing." There was a pink Cadillac, beautiful car, by the way, and people were standing on it, and they all had signs saying, "DP, DP, DP, DP." They muted on us. How rude. Considering Uli was about to jump through the phone, I have a feeling this is going to be really good. Damn it, Pam! We're watching this. Ugh. Oh, he makes me sick. Look at him. He just makes me sick.
The court has received notification from the jury that they have reached a verdict. Both sides ready to receive the verdict.
Ready, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, this courtroom is very full, and I do not know what this verdict is. But remember, whatever the verdict is, we're in a courtroom, all right? And there will be no reactions to the verdict, all right? Let's go to work. Everyone may be seated. Good afternoon. Mr. Presiding Juror, it is my understanding jury has reached a verdict on both issues. Okay, you hand it please to Deputy King. Answers to special issues. Special issue number 1, whether there is a probability that the defendant would commit criminal acts of violence that would constitute a continuing threat to society. The answer, we, the jury, unanimously find beyond a reasonable doubt that the answer to special issue number 1 is yes, signed by the presiding juror. Special issue number 2, whether taking into consideration all the evidence, including the circumstances of the offense, the defendant's character and background, and the personal moral culpability of the defendant, there is a sufficient mitigating circumstance or circumstances to warrant that a sentence of life imprisonment without parole rather than a death sentence be imposed. Answer, we, the jury, unanimously find that the answer to special issue number 2 is no, signed by the presiding juror. Does either side desire a poll?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Anderson, Mr. Goble, is there any legal reason why sentence should not be pronounced?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Horner, if you'd stand, please. It's the order of the court that you, Tanner Lynn Horner, has been adjudged to be guilty of the offense of capital murder as found by the jury. Jury having answered the special issues, making it mandatory that your punishment be death. It is therefore the order of this court that your punishment be death. Before the hour of sunrise on a date to be determined by this court, upon a mandate of affirmance issued by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals at the State Penitentiary in Huntsville, Texas, you will be caused to die in accordance with the rules and regulations established by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice until you, said Tanner Horner, are dead. Said execution procedure shall be determined and supervised by the Director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. The clerk of this court shall issue a death warrant in accordance with this sentence directed to the Director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for that purpose. Clerk shall deliver such warrant to the sheriff of this county and to be by him delivered to the Director of the Department of Criminal Justice together with you, and you will remand to the custody of the Tarrant County Jail to await transportation to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice at Huntsville, Texas, and the execution of this sentence. I will sign this death sentence as required by law.
Not in Texas. Okay. There's a few states that get it right. I don't know where you live, Sparrow, but I'd love to be your neighbor. Oklahoma drags this shit out forever. We have people that were just now executing since one is from 97. There was a lot of appeals. There was a retry. I get it. You have to do it right. Oh, Michigan. Okay. I will say Texas, I think, puts them on a fast speed escalator to get to it. Florida is doing a lot of speedy executions. Shit the bed. And Alabama, they're on board. If Oklahoma hadn't blown up Clayton Lockett's fucking heart with their drugs that they said they got from Texas but were from Germany, then we would be right on track. Missouri doesn't fuck around. I can tell you that. Utah, Idaho, I think, there's really nothing wrong with it. And he is all cool, calm, and collected. They just told him, you're going to die. You're going to die. Bye. Bye. Don't get me going on Indiana. One of our biggest federal execution centers is there in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Your appeal of the finding of this guilt by the jury and their determination of the answers to the question in this sentence are automatically appealed to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals in Austin, Texas. You will be appointed a lawyer to represent you on direct appeal, and your lawyer will receive a copy of the record of this charge, of this case at no charge. You have the right to have a second lawyer to represent you on writs of habeas corpus. It's a separate matter from your direct appeal. Do you wish to have counsel appointed for your writ purposes? Okay, then I will appoint you writ lawyers for that. Ms. Anderson, Mr. Goble, if you will remain on his case pending his decision, and we have all the appellate paperwork filled out, I have received his acknowledgement certification of the right to appeal, and I appreciate you doing that. You may be seated. Is there an allocution? He may speak. He may speak from wherever he feels the most comfortable.
I'm Elijah Strand. I'm Jacob's brother, Athena's uncle. There are no words that truly capture the devastation that Tanner Horner caused us and our family. What he took from this world was not just a child. He took a life, a future, and a piece of every single person who loved him. He took a granddaughter, a daughter, a niece, a cousin, and a friend. She would call me Uncle Elijah because she, for the longest time, couldn't say the Elijah part of my name. It was the best thing to see her running up to me with her arms open, yelling Uncle Elijah. And that's one of my last memories I have of her. And now I get to never hear that again. I think it was more than a headline. She was laughter, curiosity.
This is Athena's uncle, her dad's brother. Hey, Jenny. We have the DP, and the victim statements are going to be heartbreaking. By the way, I didn't applaud because it's heartbreaking. I applauded because Texas got it right.
Kindness and innocence. And she had dreams that she will never get to chase. Birthdays that she will never celebrate. And a life she'll never get to live because of his actions. Our family has been left with an emptiness that can never be filled. I have 3 daughters, 2 that got to meet her and grow with her, and 1 that'll never meet. And he took that away from them as well, a cousin and a friend. He stole a sense of safety from all of us in our family. Me and my wife just got comfortable enough to let our kids play outside, and that's even in our backyard. It's not close to the road.
Technically, every state has the DP. It's up to that state if they use it or not. It's on the books in every state. That's exactly what it is. Some states don't touch it, don't use it, don't want to use it. North Carolina has kind of picked up on that trend.
He's robbed us of safety, peace, and our trust in the world, and forever changed who we are as a family. And we are left to carry grief that never fades. We are left with questions that will still never have answers. And we are left trying to honor a beautiful little girl whose life was taken in the most senseless.
Why is Tennessee, not Tennessee, shit, I was thinking of Tennessee because I was reading what Ange said. Why is Tanner, or whatever you want to call him, I call him convicted. I call him dead man walking, DMW. Why is he looking at her uncle like he is confused? Sadie Lynn said, oh, really? I didn't know that. North Carolina hasn't executed anyone since 2006. Tanner Horner will be executed.
And horrific.
And that is from a jury of his peers.
Tanner Horner, I want you to hear this directly. You did not just take a life, you destroyed a family. You took a little girl who trusted the world and repaid that innocence with violence. You chose to cause pain that will last generations. You say you found God, but what you did to Athena stands in direct opposition to everything that you now claim to believe. In Matthew 18:6, it says, if anyone causes one of these little ones to stumble, it would be better for them to have a millstone hung around their neck than to be drowned. That is how seriously harm against a child is judged. And you will be judged. You will face the wrath of God. But I want you to know that you are nothing. You are a footnote in Athena's story. Her name will forever be remembered. Her name will forever be celebrated, and everyone will forget you. You wanted your 15 minutes of fame. You got it. No one's going to remember you after this.
Mr. Staten, any other allocutions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
He is creeping me out with his stare down. He's looking at that guy like you have got some nerve talking to me that way. And little sister has a look of relief on her face. Watch for the backlash. Just telling you. You know, when the internet gets to interneting, the way they pick on people that make their own decisions in their own home. And I don't mean people like Dawn and Candace, or people like Tanner Horner, or Stacey Wandra, or Adam Montgomery. I'm talking about people that are experiencing real life. So when the internet gets to interneting, or Mark Zuckerberg releases the fucking bots and gets them off of the political stations, they're going to go after these parents for having that little girl in court. I say, let her go. She has been living this nightmare for 3 years. The girl almost had a nervous breakdown when she saw the Barbie aisle.
Prisoner, Sheriff. Ladies and gentlemen, this will conclude your service as jurors. I bet in December, don't sit down, in December, that you got in that mailbox and saw a jury summons and you never thought you'd be involved in this, okay? Well, here we are 6 months later, and I thank you. And also in your presence, I want to thank the lawyers. Lawyers in real life don't behave like they do on television, okay? Mr. Staten, Mr. Berry, Ms. Dool, Mr. Lapham, all the members of the staff, they represent the citizens of Wise and Jack County. And I hope that those citizens have had a chance to watch their work, because I appreciate it. Ms. Anderson and Mr. Goldman are members of the Regional Public Defender's Office out of Lubbock. That is a government corporation that provides representation to people who are accused of capital murder where the state is seeking the death penalty in counties that have 100,000 in population or less.
and that is 195 counties in the state. And all these lawyers do is death penalty cases. So think about that. What they had done in this case, they had to do it in 194 other counties. The professionalism that they demonstrated to each other, the courtesy that they demonstrated to each other makes me a better judge, and I thank you. I thank the sheriff and his staff, bailiffs, and the rock in this room is the lady that's sitting right here in front of me. If y'all will retire to your jury, I'll be back with some final.
The judge is tearing up. Okay? That is something I've never seen before. Well, we have, but anyway.
Instructions. Okay, thank you very much. All right. We are adjourned. Let me see council.
Now let the healing begin. I never thought about it because I've never had to think about it before. When Al Stout said after Gannon passed away, he mentioned this after what Zavgirl did by putting out, when she FOIA'd Gannon's autopsy pictures. That law has been changed in Florida, and it got changed with a quickness. He said, once you hear the judge's ruling, you start a different grieving process. You start a totally different one. So now I see this beautiful family. Now their process awaits. Don't think they're not going to travel down to Austin and be there when he has an appeal. They're going to be right there. And they're going to hear the evidence over again, and they'll probably be there to watch him get killed. I was sent this the other day, and I really like this guy. And he said the enemy can't touch God, so he targets what God loves most, as in children.
Satan would kill God if he could, but he can't. So he kills babies because he knows it wounds the heart of the Father.
Absolutely.
And causes chaos on the earth. You see, abortion is actually the sacrament of Satan. Because abortion says you must die so.
Okay, I'm not talking about abortion. I'm talking about people ask all the time, because I'm not getting into an abortion debate with anybody. I think we can all piece together what I'm getting to. We ask all the time, how can God let this happen? This minister is so on it. Since Satan can't get to God and can't get to some of us, even though he does real freaking good with me some days, he goes after what God and Jesus love the most, and that is children.
I can live. But Christ says, no, I must die so you can live. And chooses to enter human history in a uterus of all locations to redeem mankind from their sins. This is why Peter Kraft, the Catholic philosopher, still alive today, spoke more prophetically on the issue of abortion than any Protestant I've ever heard. And he said, don't you know, church, abortion is the demonic parody of the Eucharist. That's why it uses the same holy words. This is my body. But with the opposite blasphemous meaning.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a coincidence that the central phrase of the entire abortion industrial complex and the culture of death today are the same words of our Savior in the First Communion? This is my body. And because Planned Parenthood is not only the largest abortion provider in the world, they're the largest provider of transgender drugs.
Okay, I wasn't going to get off on any of those topics. I was just starting with the beginning. Satan can't get to God, so he goes after our babies any way he can. You don't hear a lot of outrage because an old woman passes away in her car. Can we go ahead? And I know this is in very bad taste, and celebrate Texas because they made the right decision today. Really need to quit taking pictures of Susan out by her pool and putting them in videos. It is just not nice to do that to Susan. Okay? But yes, Tanner Horner is getting the death penalty, and it will be with a quickness for the justice system. God bless Texas. God bless those jurors. And I was picking up what the judge was putting down, talking to them about if they're going to need some help after this, they are definitely going to get it for them. I personally would need someone to talk to because they have been bottled up for 5 weeks and they have heard nothing but the worst of the worst. And I will say in that video, I knew Horny Uli was going to come in. We saw Susan in a bathing suit and probably a bunch of people that have worked at Uli's house. My God, how in the hell? But justice has been served. Athena is in heaven, not where she, well, I can't say things like that. Her parents would rather see her grow up. Aggie said, Brooks, what did you do to your mods? What are they doing to me? Dear God, Aggie, these people are all over me all the time. Shit. I can't help these women. They start taking all those weird medications they get from those samples from the gyno, and next thing you know, I can't control them. You wouldn't even believe some of the stuff that Ange tells me. It's insane. And here you have Laura Uli. Just bring your guy friend over and we can party. Oh boy. A lot of stuff going on in the comments. Can we get an amen though? Justice has been served in my eyes. It has been done. I don't care about the appellate court in Texas. They don't give a shit either. So, he will sit there and think about this for the rest of his short, little, disgusting life. That's right, he will. He has nothing else to do. Think he's going to go to the rec room or play basketball in the yard or lift weights with the white supremacists? Nope. Because he has got a target on his back and they know what he got the DP for. They're already back there telling him. They're already back there telling him. They are ready. Bringing in another dead man walking. What he do? What he do? That's how they talk. Just asking a question, A-X-I-N-G, and they'll say, kill little girl. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. He'll learn how to pick up soap with his ass cheeks real quick. Real quick. And don't think when he gets to the big house that they're going to have armed guards around making sure he can shower in safety. Old Stephen Stearns learned that. Don't get me going on Adam Montgomery. Don't think I shed one tear over what happened to him in the jail. He got a belly full of black people poop. They held him in there and gave him a swirly and used a plunger on everything on his body except for the toilet. That is exactly right. Tanner is not going to have fun in prison. He's been pretty much safely guarded the whole time. Here comes Mirvi with the plunger. She loves keeping that plunger emoji ready. And Tanner, rest in hell, buddy. All right, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Thank you for watching this with me because I know it's been very emotional for all of us. If you want to recap what we have learned over the years about Athena, we have a whole playlist. Matter of fact, I know a lot of you guys get bored and you miss hearing from me. And you go through the playlists all the time. All right, love you guys. I will see you back here tomorrow.